Capricorn. Angel, Spirit, God, thank you so much for bringing me here today and just giving me this full-on experience. Whew. Bringing everybody their messages, receiving messages myself. Okay, Capricorn, so hopefully the Mercury retrograde is going to be all right now that Venus has just transited into Pisces, softening the blow a little bit, clearing up a little bit of the confusion, right? I would believe so. I'm giving you evening. You're giving me evening. So what's going on is that I am going to be working with the Morgan Greer Tarot deck today, tonight, this evening. You guys know the Morgan Greer Tarot deck. Oh, look, the sun. Okay, sun is in Aries right now. The sun is exalted in Aries. We are all paying close attention, right, to who we are, what our will is, what are we declaring, our identity, right? The id and the ego, that type of thing, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say that that's Nietzsche, but maybe it's not. I could be wrong. And I'm also going to be bringing up 3 more decks in the reading. I'm going to be using the Runes Oracle deck. This one is Issa, Intuition at the bottom here, right? Going with the gut. And then I'm also going to be using the Romance Angels Oracle deck, okay? And then I've been also using the Chicoli Oracle. Look at this one. So cute. I love these. Just as clarifiers towards the end of the reading, Capricorn. So I have a jade plant here as your earth element. You know, I like to bring in things to the reading that kind of help me get into your energy before I get started. Your energy was a little bit complicated. It was like really hard for me to get into your energy. I mean, I'm already scattered because I'm a Libra and Libra rising, and I have a lot of heavy Sag placements, but which is your 12th house. But, you know, I was kind of scattered before getting ready to do your reading, but I knew that I wanted to do it, and I knew you'd be next because I've just done all of the cardinal signs. You're the 4th one up. I was listening to, like, songs before I did your reading, and, like, Khalees was on, and, like, I Hate You So Much came on right now. I mean, I Hate You So Much right now came on. Has anybody, like, been listening to Khalees? That's an old song. Okay, so I think that I'm just going to go ahead and cut the deck for you. Okay? Well, all right, that was it. So I'm going to do the Ascendant spread for you all because, you know, that is definitely a trademark. And we love doing that one. She sounds like Madonna doing a bad song right now. We're listening to Caliucci. I don't think you guys can hear that much of it. Hopefully the music isn't that loud. You know that I've just been kind of like, oh, shit. Capricorn. All right. Now, you know I just said something about what was going on in your first house with Saturn being there, as well as Pluto. And we do have Pluto here at the bottom of the deck, which is the Death card. This is talking about transformations, right? Transformation of the spirit, also transformations of the ego for sure. And you could also be realizing where your weaknesses are. You could also be giving into your weakness as, you know, as in embracing your weaknesses, right? Because when you embrace your weaknesses, you also find strength. Or you might be finding strength out of just kind of like, you know, having your weaknesses brought to your attention by a force that's greater than you. Because the Death card talks about power, right? It also talks about powerful lessons that lead to restructuring, right? You know, it's 13. So it's, you know, the focus and the awareness of something that's being created, right? Or it's also talking about like beginnings of creation, right? So that's a transformation. It's a new beginning, right? That's being created out of, you know, an ending. Yeah. So that's beautiful, actually. The death card is not a card to be afraid of. You know, some of you might actually be experiencing like someone in your life, maybe that might be maybe had a physical death or something like that. There's a card here that actually stayed flipped up with the Chicoli Oracle deck, and it is number 15, and this is talking about like assistance and asking your friends for help or asking someone for help or letting someone be there that wants to be there. I didn't even realize that I didn't put this card back in the deck before I shuffled it, but it stayed out and it stayed up and lifted, so here it is. And also at the bottom of the Romance Angels Oracle deck, it also says, let your friends help you. So I feel like, you know, sometimes with Capricorn energy, you guys get into that thing where like you kind of want to do the work on your own and not really let anyone who's offering you help come in and give you any assistance or give you any help. So then you kind of get yourself in a bind where like there's so much for you to take care of, right? And you feel like you get overwhelmed with it. You know what I mean? It's almost like things become a little bit more difficult for you guys when you do it that way or when you allow it to happen that way. You really should ask people for help when you need help. Hold on one second. I know. Let me just wipe this down. Why does it do that? Okay. I think that's better. I hope it is. If not, then I'm going to just use this. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna say that that's good. So yeah, the card at the bottom of the deck is the Death card, and it's saying you're going through some transformation, and you have an overwhelming sense of completion here, right? Your awareness of something that is completed in order for something else to be created, right? It's like tabula rasa, clean slate. It looks scary, right? But then it also talks about passion, right? It also talks about heart. It also talks about sacrifice here with the red in the background, yeah? So there really is something to be sacrificed. It almost has a bloodshed kind of feeling. And there's a little bit of angst with that type of feeling. Anytime anyone says bloodshed, you know that there was a great pain, or there was a great hurting, or there was a letting go that had to take place in order for you to heal from something. Because the Death card does also generate healing, and that's why this evokes healing, and that's why this white rose is there. You know what I mean? The white rose definitely is talking about cleansing, healing, purification. You know what I mean? Seeing a situation as being an opportunity, right? And not a sentencing of sorts, because this card could look like a sentencing, right? It looks like it is, but it doesn't have to be that. You know what I mean? It looks scary. And I was thinking about that, like how some monsters that actually aren't monsters are meant to be helpful or be meant to be something that is supposed to kind of like teach you a lesson, or that's the thing that you actually should be like listening to. It just seems like it's scary because maybe it just suits the situation that you're actually dealing with, right? I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyway, transformations, dealing with death and things like that. Some of you guys could be dealing with a Taurus that's opposite you, that's in your 7th house. Mars, your planetary ruler, is there right now with Uranus, which is a planet that's talking about shakeups, unconventionalism, doing things as an individual and seeing things in a completely different way than other people do. This card is a 7. It's 7 of Pentacles, and that's Taurus, like I just said. And it's Saturn, right? Saturn is restricting you, and you seeing the productivity in something. You seeing the progress in something. It's almost kind of like you feel a lack in the productivity, so that's getting in the way of your confidence, right? Because you've been on something for quite a while. This could have to do with a relationship. You know what I mean? Maybe you're experiencing the ending of a relationship, right? And this is kind of like someone chose this because it's been quite a while. Mars is a planet of, restraint and destruction, and you have the most restrictive planet, Saturn, here with Pluto in the death card, representing Scorpio transformations and desires, right? And it talks about other people's money. It's the eighth house. It's those things about being uncomfortable when you realize the truth about something, right? Because you've already passed through the truth about something with the seventh house of Libra, right? Being committed to making decisions based on a need for fairness and a need for harmony and a need to see things work out, right? Because it's like it's the essence of victory here. It's almost like you can smell the sweet smell of victory, right? But it's like you haven't really gotten there yet. You haven't gotten to the finish line of something yet, or you feel like there's a lack. It's almost like you can't make it there. You feel like this is where it's going. I'm cutting it off here. You know what I mean? And it's almost like you're being like, I'm actually going home, or something like that. Like, I don't want to see you anymore. We don't need to see each other anymore. That type of thing. Or this could be a job. This could be you feeling like you haven't really gotten what you deserve out of a job, and you wanting to sort of like just really like cut ties with this thing, right? But it's something that you've invested in, over your time, your effort, your energy, that type of thing. But maybe you're just going through a transition and now you're seeing yourself involved in a situation that you have to learn more from, because the sevens are talking about victory, and it also is talking about relating to an experience and not letting yourself become overwhelmed with emotion due to the challenges that you might be facing, right? The conflict. But it is with an advantage because you can see the potential, right? You can also see, how something can actually like work itself out. You know what I mean? You see the good, you see the pros, and you see the cons. You know what I mean? But it's just telling you to be patient. You do need to move forward. There's forward movement, but it's slow, right? After this transformation, you know what I mean? You're experiencing some forward movement. There's some acceleration, right? Because the sevens do have to talk about acceleration from the Chariot. What's crossing you is the Ten of Wands. So this is Saturn and Sagittarius. You got so much Saturn here, right? But then it's also related to the Wheel of Fortune. So there's a sense of overwhelm. You have an overwhelming sense of burden, right? Within whatever this experience is that you feel like you have transformed out of, or you're being called to transform in right now. And you have Saturn in your sign and you have Pluto in your sign. So both of those planets are there. And I talked about them before I even laid these cards out while I was shuffling. So you're definitely going through some karmic changes. You're definitely going through some plutonic, situations of transformations and power struggles, weaknesses, right? Resentment, scorn, that type of thing. Also, it has to do with like looking back at the past and having experiences that way. It's almost like you're reviewing the past and you're also seeing what didn't work in the past, right? And even though you feel like you want to go back to a time where you felt a little bit more comfortable when you didn't have Saturn and Pluto really digging deep inside of you, trying to get something out of you, that's what Pluto does. It wants to extract things out of you, and so does Saturn too. It's like Pluto wants to extract the toxic things out of you, and then Saturn wants to actually extract the things that don't work or take out the bad habits. You know what I mean? It really focuses in on what your bad habits are, right? And then it teaches you how to deal with those things, because habits are something that you cultivate, right? They grow. You build them. Okay? You're a good builder. So you're very good at building habits. You're the ultimate builder. Mountains, right? It's like these ones right here are a mountain. You feel challenged by the responsibility of having to deal with this, right? On your own, possibly. Right? Because this is having a restriction at work or within a relationship that involves work, or it could be, just the relationships that you have in the place that you work, right? And you might just be feeling like you're just working so hard and you just kind of like keep to yourself and you don't really want to do this anymore like this. You know what I mean? So some of you kind of want this to be the end of an experience that you feel like you've given your all to already, I feel like. You know what I mean? But then it's like the tens also bring in beginnings, right? So it's kind of like you need to drop something in order for you to have more opportunity, or you lighten your load. You know what I mean? This card also means you need to ask your friends for help. This card means you need to ask your friends for help. It was just hanging out. I didn't even see it. This says let your friends help you. Let your friends help you. Yeah. Ask and accept for support from others. Whatever that means to some of you that know that you need to ask someone for help. And this also has to do with the 10th house, which is Capricorn, which is you. You know what I mean? Your 10th house is Libra, and that's where the full moon just happened, right? Beginnings at 0 degrees of Libra. Okay, and you have another one in your 10th house at 29 degrees of Libra in April. I think it's April 19th or something like that. You know what I mean? So think about that. There's something that's transpiring between now. Some of you guys are going to drop something or let something go. You know what I mean? Or release a burdensome situation. Some of you could be dealing with a Taurus. Some of you could be dealing with a Sagittarius. You know what I mean? Or a Scorpio, for sure. I don't really see relationship stuff here. I mean, with the 7 being here, yeah, it could definitely be a relationship that you invested time and energy in, right? That you feel burdened by, that you actually want to just drop and let go. And that's why the death card is here, talking about that you're willing to make that sacrifice, the bloodshed. That's why the blood is in the background. You know what I mean? Right. That's what it is. It's like the heart, right? For sure. It's a fixed sign. Okay, so let's look at the past here. Right, confusion. You know what I mean? Not understanding where your power lied, right? Not understanding, like, you know, you were just kind of a little bit confused. This is Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter is a planet of expansion, you know what I mean? Abundance, but then it's also kind of like going all over the place. It's overwhelming, right? It's overzealousness, right? There's a lot of effort, and then it's also effortlessly reckless as well. And you know, with Jupiter being a Gemini, then that could just get all over the place. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of direction there for things to go in a way that's going to be very productive, right? You don't feel very logical within your process of thinking, right? And you feel this you think this overwhelmingly. It's almost like the concepts don't line up, they don't match up, right? And this is talking about, you know, the splendidness of what it's going to be like for you to just kind of like release yourself from the burden. This is like burden. The 10 of Wands is burden of an experience, right? In your heart, you feel burdened in your heart, right? And in your goals, right? And what it is that you felt passionately about and succeeding and getting towards that goal. You feel like it's just being so hard. It's so difficult to get to this place of understanding. But then it's almost like you kind of feel trapped in your mind too, because it's like you're not able to communicate, right? It's almost like you're doing everything you can to communicate in a way that is going to be, you know, good, well received, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like you're almost like you do really need to release yourself from the prison of your mind, right? It's almost like you've built this wall around you of worry, and it's almost like you're kind of like doing it on your own, right? Or it was in the past. This is the past position. It's building that wall of worry around yourself. You know what I mean? And it could, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say about that card. So in your sun position, you have the Knight of Pentacles, which is a mutable card. That's Virgo energy. It could be you know what I mean? That's your energy as well. You're adapting to a change, right? You're kind of like, you know, bopping around. What do they call it? I don't know, boxing. I'm getting boxing, right? Was anybody fighting? Um, so the Knight of Pentacles is talking about somebody coming in and helping you, right? Like they said, a trusted friend. This is really saying that there's someone out there that you may not be letting help you. Why though? Why is the death card here? But all of these cards are saying you need somebody to help you. Ask help from people. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what you need to learn to do. That's how you can like relate to your friends more, or relate to your, you know, something. You need to ask somebody for help. Maybe it's a Scorpio you need to ask for help, but maybe you have a pride issue. And that's why the 8 of Swords is here in the past, because, you know, you were thinking so much about not doing something because you felt like you were going to be weak if you actually communicated this. You know what I mean? So you may be held back communication that just kind of like got blocked up in your mind and built up, you know what I mean, in your psychological like process, right? It never really got to get filtered out. You haven't communicated something, you know what I mean? In the past, you wanted to communicate something, or maybe you didn't communicate something. Maybe you should have asked someone. Maybe it should have been the Scorpio person. You know what I mean? Oh my God. So the Knight of Pentacles is really talking about adapting to a change. It's mutable, it's earth. You know, this could be like you trying to figure out how to like change the way you save money. Maybe you could be like, you know, choosing to change the way you invested in something, right? This could be like somebody that you plan to make an investment with, you know what I mean? And that might be something that you might be feeling intimidated by in that kind of way, or in some kind of way like that. The knights do really have a purpose. They serve a purpose, and they also, you know, they're kind of like a graduated version of the page. You know, they're not learning their job, they're doing their job. So they do their job very well, and they usually take their job very seriously. You know what I mean? So this person that you should be asking for help probably knows a thing or two about what they're talking about. So you need to just like get over the fact that you're going to have to like step down off of your high horse and ask someone for help. Basically, Capricorn. Ugh, you want to do everything on your own. I know that. That's what the cards are saying. I can't even lie. You know what I mean? Because the Scorpio card is about control. This is about letting things get out of control. Look at all those flowers that popped up. Oh my God, now everything has to be pollinated. We only have two. We have one butterfly and one bee. I should have called y'all's asses a long ass time ago. You know what I mean? And then you got this card, because this is burden. I'm doing everything on my own. This is saying it's taking a long ass time because I am doing everything on my own, because it's Saturn and Taurus. You know what I mean? It's almost like you created those boundaries within your relationships, right? Within the work that you do or whatever, because you want to do it on your own. It's like the effort, right? And the sevens have to do with relating. You know what I mean? Okay, and you may just not believe that anyone else is going to do it the way that you would do it. You know what I mean? Because it's talking about being committed to your own belief systems. Yeah, because that's Taurus, right? Taurus energy. But then it's like sometimes you have to be relating, you have to relate to people so that you can see, you know, like how your belief systems can merge and form something that's more beautiful. You know what I mean? It's very, you know, so that you can get somewhere. It's really about productivity in life. It's not about like bumping heads or coming to this place where nobody feels like they can move, right? I can't move here. You can't move here. There's no movement here, but there is. It's just slow. This is definitely slow movement forward. So you need to identify with the slowness of the process, because something is developing that's going to be more value to you. That's going to be more enriching to you. You know what I mean? You're going to get more out of the experience if you set yourself free of, you know, the expectations of what you felt like something was supposed to be. You know, what was anything supposed to be? What is anything supposed to be? You know what I mean? Right? Mercury is still in Pisces, right? For sure. It's still retrograde. We're about to be in the shadow phase. Thank God Venus is there now, bringing a little bit of softness to the deal. So now let's look at what's going on in your, oh no, we got to look at the moon placement. Okay, so the moon is talking about, you know, how you're feeling, things that are hidden, right? It also talks about the home, right? Because there are things that happen within the home that are shut out from all the rest of the world. You know what I mean? And this is a 6, right? So this is talking about, you know, beauty, harmony. It's talking about, you know, comprehensively creating an atmosphere where everyone feels appreciated, right? Where everyone understands what their purpose is, because it's a 6, so it's mercurial, right? It's ruled by the lovers, and that's talking about beauty. That's talking about, you know, Mercury, even Venus, if you will. You know what I mean? Compassion, definitely. Mercury's in Pisces right now, right? That's the sign of compassion. Venus is there as well, right? Both of the loving signs are in Pisces right now. So you're feeling the love. You're feeling a little bit more abundantly yourself, right? It's almost like, but it's a sense of pride that is for the cause of the overabundance, right? You know what I mean? And I don't really always like to say just pride and ego with this, with you know, Leo energy that pops up. It really has to do with like the heart as well. This also has to do with like, you know, children, because children become your heart and your soul. family becomes your heart and your soul. So this is talking about really being emotionally connected to an experience that makes you feel like you are successfully thriving within that, right? Because you're pouring your heart and soul into something. And the moon talks about having a need to express something. So you have a need to express and communicate something that, is very important to you by way of your will and your creativity that is, coming from your heart and your soul. You know what I mean? And it's a white horse, just like the white horse that is on the sun card. You know what I mean? So it really is talking about, being open, right? Where, everything is clean here, smooth here. It's also talking about a surrendering as well, a surrendering of the will, a surrendering of the will so that something that could, really come into form and completion because it's a six. So it's talking about cycles closing and coming into completion, right? It's like the second phase of a cycle that's completing. So you had to learn different things in those cycles, right? Because you have a lot of Saturn here, and it really is advising you to look around and see where the help lies around you, the resources, because the Knight of Pentacles knows which resources he needs to look at, and he knows how to prioritize those resources, right? He knows how to make the right plans for the right time and the right way, and he also knows how to change things if they need to be changed, because it's going to be more productive. You don't want to get in the way of your own productivity because you have an unwillingness to change, right? The Scorpio card at the bottom. You know what I mean? This Saturn in Taurus card right here at the beginning of the reading as your central energy. The Saturn in Sagittarius card, which is saying that, you're feeling burdened by an experience that's getting in the way of you getting towards a goal because you don't want to let something go. You know what I mean? That type of thing. You want it all. You're doing too much, right? 10. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, everything. Wheels turning. Da, 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 da. That type of thing. I got this. I got this. I keep hearing that. I got it. I got it. People are offering you. They are. You know what I mean? That's why you got the Knight of Pentacles here. That's why this 15 came up. And that's a 6 as well. When you add that 1 and that 5 and you reduce it down, that's a 6. But then it's 15. It's not a tarot card, it's an oracle card, but it's still related to that 15 energy of not understanding that you might be creating a prison for yourself. You know what I mean? Within the experience, yeah? But it's not like, this is almost like the ball and chain, right? Because it's weighted and it's heavy, and you have to carry the weight, the responsibility of doing all of it on your own. You know what I mean? And then not letting people help you. You're not getting the beauty. You're not getting the beauty out of the experience, because then you share something with people, and then it's like, wow, we did that together. You know what I mean? Within the right scenario, and you know who you are. If you're in a position where you can still be working side by side with people, or working well with people and letting them help you while you guys are working things out. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you have your Sun in your 10th house, okay? Or you could have Saturn in your first. But 10th house probably, most likely. But I have Saturn in my first house, so I'm going to have to look at this too later. Right? And it talks about, just kind of like, you will experience success, that you will, I'm just going to flip over this card because I need to look at okay, there we go. Right? So it's kind of like not asking for that help. It's almost kind of like, something ended for sure. Something definitely ended, right? Because you have the Death card up here at the bottom of the deck, and then in your anxieties you have the 5 of Cups, which is Mars and Scorpio, but then it echoes the energy, the energy of the Hierophant pushes through, and that's Taurus. So there's talking about boundary issues here, and it's talking about, understanding that there's been a change in the boundaries, perhaps the way that you see them, because it's kind of like with the 5 of Cups and having these 3 cups spilled over, it's almost like now things have changed and you have to relate to the experience in a different way. These 3 cups could be you asking for the help or lightening your load on your own. You know what I mean? This could be, you know, you sort of like fucking something up because you were trying to control everything on your own and you couldn't do everything on your own, and therefore something slipped through the cracks. And if you would have let people help you with it like they asked you to, maybe they would have been able to catch this thing. You know what I mean? It's safety net. That's what I'm getting. Safety net. You know what I mean? So you have to realize, you know, when people want to be your safety net for good reason. And you have to like let them be that thing because it might actually be more productive than not. It's kind of like not hiring security for the party and hiring security for the party. You know what I mean? If you don't hire security for the party and a fight breaks out, who's going to break up the fight? You know what I mean? So you really have to plan for, you know, the best. Try to make the best plans that you can. You know what I mean? Even if it means that you have to give up some of your power, which actually allowing other people to help you makes you more powerful when you get more stuff done. You know what I mean? It really isn't about being strong, weak, or powerful. It's about getting stuff done. And that's what you're really good at, but it's kind of like you want to always do it on your own because you're a control freak. Preach, my Cap X won't share kids. See, look, and the six has to do with kids. You know what I mean? That's the thing. When you try to, when you don't want to share the kids, then you know that becomes a burden on you. You know, and then the kids might suffer because you're going to be expressing yourself and expressing the burden of your experience, right? That's going to affect how you relate. You know what I mean? To what it is that you're really trying to do and really trying to get done. You have to understand how you can beautify the experience if you give up parts of yourself, of your old self, that didn't work for you in the first place. You know what I mean? Because it's like if you want things to change, you have to see how you can change with those things that you want to see change. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like if you just want things to change and you don't know like what's going to happen or how you see yourself within that change, then like what are you doing? You know what I mean? You have to like see it. You have to be it. You have to try to like allow yourself to like, you know, put to rest, put to bed, put behind you elements of the past that you may not feel proud about, elements of the past that you may not feel good about, or elements of the past that you might be going back to that just kind of make you feel some kind of way, uncomfortable. Because the fives, they talk about having to feel uncomfortable with the fives. You know what I mean? That Hierophant energy, because Hierophant is talking about Taurus, and that's talking about elements of comfort. So when you start talking about the minor arcana fives, it talks about elements of comfort, but it also talks about elements of discomfort as well. You know what I mean? Because that's what wisdom brings. It's like knowing good and knowing bad. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when a rich person takes their kids to, you know, like a soup kitchen and has them like work all day, you know, 8 hours plus. Because it's like you're gaining wisdom out of seeing like this side and you're seeing this side. And I know it's hard for you to see both sides as they are because you don't want to take the good with the bad, right? Because you're trying to control the experience that is karmically trying to teach you something and let you transform to be the person that you don't even know that you can be yet. You know what I mean? And that's what Pluto and Saturn do together, for sure. I have them both conjunct in my first house. Never thought that I'd be doing this. Thank you. My two cards that I found are under all of this. So yeah, you know, this is talking about showing yourself a level of respect that is going to allow you to relate to your experience in a different way, in a way that's going to make you feel like you're starting to understand yourself differently. You know what I mean? Which is actually adding another layer to you, adding another layer to your experience. Definitely. You know, this could be some heartache here, you know, and you may not be willing to show that. And I feel like people are probably offering you, you know, help because they know that you have experienced some heartache or they know that you are going through some heartache right now. That type of thing. You know, because this is a card of heartache, you know, it's a five, so it's talking about the fifth house, that's Leo, that's the heart, you know, it is a fixed card, and it's Mars in Scorpio. You know what I mean? Which I believe squares Leo, right? So that squaring energy is sort of like hard to deal with. It's kind of heavy, you know? And Pluto rules Scorpio, and so does Mars. You got both of those things here already. And Taurus, you have some Taurus cards here. Echoes of that Taurus energy. So they're saying that there's something to be there's something to be gained out of this. There's something to grow out of this, right? You may not see the growth, right? Because this is the first card that was indicated when we flipped over the cards. Growth, right? And the restriction of that growth, not being able to feel like it's actually happening, not being able to like calculate seventh house, Libra, the scales. You're not calculating that something is working out the way you wanted it to, but maybe you could just be trying to move forward too fast, because the sevens are ruled by the Chariot, and that is talking about moving forward and accelerating. And you do have it covered by a Sagittarius card, which is also still Saturn. So it's like you got the Chariot energy and you have the Wheel of Fortune energy, right? So it's like you really are feeling restricted in the way that something is moving forward. But you're used to things taking a little bit of time. You just didn't think that it would take this much time. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, you guys. Let me take a sip of this water. I wish I had a paper towel around. I'm going to flip over the X. The X. Oh, God. Some of y'all daydreaming about finding your ex? I said, I'm going to flip over the X. Okay. So now let's look at what is going on in your Mars position, okay? This is kind of like this is the second time that this has happened. Are you guys dealing with a Cancer too? Or some of you might be dealing with another cardinal sign, because I've done all the cardinal signs, and this is the second time that the Justice card has popped up in the Mars position. So some of you could be dealing with a male, right? A male, and he could be, could be taking somebody to court. You know what I mean? Or you could be trying to get justice in court for something. It could have to do with money. It could have to do with the sharing of finances, because Libra, the seventh house, does have to do with finances, right? It does have to do, with, just balancing out finances. And then the sixes have to do with children, and Scorpio rising, Cancer moon, boob. You know what I mean? Child support is also, one of those things that you actually need somebody to help you out with. So this is talking about somebody helping you out with money, or helping you out with something physical, practical, right? That you can use as a tool or a resource, or someone being a tool or a resource for you. Sorry, I'm laughing at myself. But this is kind of like you've declared something here too. You know what I mean? Because Aries is making a declaration of the self, right? And Libra, the Justice card, is also making a declaration, but it's making a declaration in terms of like, opposition, options, two parties involved. You know what I mean? There's one side, and then there's another side. There's two sides to a story, and two sides of a story have to be sort of like acted out or played out, because it talks about truth as well. And you could be trying to get the truth from a male person, right? Mars energy, Scorpio, Capricorn, that's you. This squares you. You know what I mean? So you could be at a stalemate with somebody, and you're like, well, we're just gonna have to take it to court. You know what I mean? And that would suck to have to go to court over something with someone that you love, or that someone you were in a relationship, because this is talking about money. You know what I mean? Resources. It's talking about the way you feel about something. You know what I mean? You feel really bad about the way something went. You know what I mean? And then also, you really feel like you want what's best for the kids, obviously, because, you have the six here, right? You're committed to that. You're focused on that. You know what I mean? It's a change of focus, towards the kids only. You're like, it's not really about me. It's really just about the kids. You know what I mean? And what's best for them. You know what I mean? Because you don't really have any Aries cards here. You do have Scorpio, and that's just somebody trying to control something, and like I said, resources, tools, using the kids as a resource or a tool to control. You know what I mean? That's something that people do. They understand. I know, honey. People use pets to control, that type of thing. They have. or cars, homes, that type of thing. If people are getting divorced and then, one of the people doesn't want the other to have the home because they feel like they're going to like get remarried or something and have people in the home with them. You know what I mean? Somebody could be upset. Somebody could be worried about the children being around another adult that they don't like, that they resent, that type of thing. It is hot. Spring is just around the corner if it's already hot. Maybe I'm just hot because I'm doing this. Yeah, so the justice really does have to do with courtroom things, options, oppositions, understanding pros and cons, good and bad to a situation, winning, losing, you know what I mean, balancing things out. There definitely is something to be revealed here with this 11 and the Justice card. It's echoes of the Pisces card, which is the High Priestess. You know what I mean? The High Priestess is talking about feeling, something being revealed through feeling, but then the Justice card is talking about something being revealed through logic, you know what I mean, in the mind, intelligence, that type of thing, calibrating the mind to see that something is right, exactly that, right? Because it's almost like this is so fierce too, because in the Mars position you got the Justice card, and Mars, the Aries, is like I am, and then the Justice Libra is like I'll tell you what you are. You know what I mean, like that type of thing. So somebody's going to get told off, right? Clearly. All right, Capricorn, what's going on in your Venus position? Okay, so this is the Knight of Swords. This is talking about, having a responsibility to communicate and to say something. You know what I mean? And this is like you either are going to have an outburst, right? Or an outburst type of feeling, passionately communicate something to someone that you have a relationship with. Or you might be passionately communicating, uh, to your lover, right? Or the person that you might be, feeling burdened by within, the sharing of these resources or the way that these things have been sort of abused. Knight of Swords, impatient, right? Definitely somebody in the relationship is going to grow more impatient over something. You know what I mean? And it's almost like they're focused on what it is, zoned in, lasered, right? Because the Knight of Swords is coming in fast and he's coming in sharp. You know what I mean? But you know what? You better be careful with how sharp you make that sword, because you might cut yourself. Okay? So don't come in too sharp and too fast. Don't be too sharp-tongued, because you want to be clear. And if you let yourself get distracted by your anger, you may not be as clear as you want to be. So be mindful of that. You know what I mean? Right? Be fair to yourself so that you actually get what you need out of the experience or out of the situation, right? Because if that goes awry, then what are you doing it for, Libra? Okay, so understand what it is to remain balanced within the scenario. Get your point across. Try not to offend the situation or the scenario or the atmosphere with negative energy. You know what I mean? Just really be clear. You can be very stern, you know what I mean, but you don't have to, no cursing, no swearing, no none of that. You know what I mean? Remain fair within the way that you drive this communication forward. Okay? For sure. You have 3 more cards, and then I also have 3 cards from the Oracle deck to pull for you. So, past, present, future. In the past, you have the 8 of Swords, feeling imprisoned by your own thought process, needing to set yourself free from your own thoughts that you're creating because you choose to be behind something that, hasn't been clarified because you haven't chosen to clarify it for yourself. You know what I mean? And that could just be because you're not speaking up. You really do need to talk. The 7th house is talking about communication. It's Libra. It's an air sign. And then it's Saturn in Taurus. So that's Libra's exalted planet in its sister sign that's ruled by Venus. So, Venus could really get a thing or two. I mean, Taurus could really learn a thing or two out of this Saturn placement here with the Saturn and Taurus card being the Seven of Pentacles. You could see yourself move forward, but you have to understand how to be gracious, right? In this experience of learning, because you are learning. That's the point. Okay? And in the future placement, the Devil, Capricorn, that's you. It's also a 6, 1 and 5. Being aware of what you have committed yourself to, right? Feeling like you want to bring an ending to this commitment because you feel burdened by it. Like I said, ball and chain earlier, there literally is a ball and chain in this picture normally, but this is what the Devil card looks like in this deck. Some readers say that it's too scary. Okay? So this is kind of like feeling burdened by an experience. You feel imprisoned by it, you know what I mean? And this is book-ended, right? So this is book-ended like those moons, those Libra moons that we're dealing with, right? The 0 degree and the 29 degree, book-ended, okay? The Devil card is talking about releasing yourself from something that you feel like, you know, you can't really be successful in, or you can't really, you know, see yourself being productive in. This is almost kind of like a glass ceiling type of situation. You know what I mean? It's almost like you feel trapped in an experience that's making you feel like there's no other way to get out of this unless I just kind of like fight my way out. Because that's what the Devil card kind of gives. It's like, well, as soon as he turns around and as soon as this happens, you know what I mean? Because there's a little bit of like undercutting here, you know what I mean, with the Devil, because he's sly. You know what I mean? The Devil comes in many different forms. And usually when he comes in any form, there's something to him that you can recognize, that you can see that is very devilish, diabolical, evil about it. It could be a smirk. It could be the way that they do something. It could be the way that they try to control a certain element, right? A part of you, people, right? This could be somebody always wanting to be the one that is in control in terms of time, place, that type of thing. How far you can go with something, because the Devil card really does restrict how far you can go, right? You're tethered to him. No, you can only go over there in that corner, that type of thing, right? It really does talk about boundaries. It talks about obstacles too. So someone is trying to make themselves an obstacle for you. You know what I mean? It really is just being difficult to not let someone get anywhere. They don't want to see the freedom. They don't want to allow you to see the freedom in your experience, having the full experience of freedom, feeling that. You know what I mean? And it's really not fair, because this is not what the Justice card is talking about. And justice is actually going to be served, because Capricorn, Mars is exalted there. And that card is here in this reading. And a lot of Saturn cards are there as well. But in the Mars position, which your exalted planet rules in this spread, justice is there, right? See what I'm saying? See what I'm getting at? And it's going to be some time, right? You feel like it's difficult. Why does it have to be so hard to get this to happen? To get this shift? But we're all experiencing shifts right now. And it's just a little bit difficult for us to kind of like really get into the groove of that. Some of us, you know what I mean? Some of us are getting into the groove of that. But some of us who know other people who we relate to and on a close level, they aren't there yet. So it's making our experience a little more challenging, because we have to relate to them within whatever, you know, responsibilities that we might share together, that type of thing, or whatever experience that we might share together, that we feel responsible for our own healing, or our, you know, you can be responsible for somebody else's healing. You can only be responsible for your own. You know what I mean? I learned that. You know, you can try to heal somebody, but if they don't want to be healed, they ain't gonna be healed. You know, that's for somebody out there. I don't know where that came from. How? Okay. So let's look at the energy moving forward, or the outcome. True. Yes. Change of focus, clarity, truth, in the same row as the Justice card and the Knight of Swords. So this is truth coming in fast, quickly. Venus is in this bottom row. Okay? Truth. Ace of Swords. That's the moving forward energy outcome. So this situation is going to take a turn. It's going to take a turn. You know what I mean? And the Knight of Swords is looking directly towards the Ace of Swords in the spread, right? How it's laid out, right? So this is really talking about somebody's going to speak up. Somebody's going to demand the truth. Somebody's going to say the truth. Somebody's going to reveal the truth. Somebody's going to change focus here, or somebody's going to change their mind. You know what I mean? Maybe dramatically. After you like tell them about themselves, they might change their mind. Or after you really express the truth, right? If you speak authentically and you really let them know the truth about the situation, they can't say nothing. You know what I mean? If you really speak truthfully and authentically, what is anybody going to say? Or do, right? That's going to affect you, right? Because the truth, it'll set you free, honey. And that's not the end of your reading. So let's look at what it is at the top. So, whoa. What's at the top of the reading is really what you're going into, right? What you're moving towards, because this is the ascendant. So this is what you're rising towards, the energy you're going to sort of like grow into. All right, now. Strokes of luck, opportunity, right? You took a risk with the communication, right? You took a risk with speaking your truth, right? But that got you somewhere, right? And that is why Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune, Sagittarius, right? Because it really is, Sagittarius is seeking the truth as well. It's going out there to find the truths. You know what I mean? So it can feel like it's getting somewhere in the world. Well, I learned this and I found out that. And did you know this? There's a bird in the tropics that looks like this. You know what I mean? It's revealing things to yourself by way of exploration, right? So now you're going to feel more exploratory, more explorative, you know what I mean, in terms of like this new focus coming in or this clarity coming in. You feel like things have opened up for you. There's a little bit more room. You won't feel as restricted, you know what I mean? And it really just took you saying something. It really just took you asking for that help. It really just took you letting other people get involved to help you. It really did take for some people to tell you the truth about you, and they are going to. Okay? Wheel of Fortune at the top, you know, take advantage of the opportunity, understand what it means to, feel obligated to some things. You might feel overwhelmed by things that are moving forward or by the sudden fluctuation or the sudden acceleration of movement, how quickly this thing sort of like just changed. I love that you got the Ace of Swords followed by the Wheel of Fortune. You know what I mean? That's a positive thing. And then the Justice card is here as one of your major arcana cards, you know? And then you have the Devil and you have the Wheel of Fortune, you know? And also the Death card. So the Death card is really saying that there's going to be a release from something, right? There's going to be a natural ending, the death of a situation, because time has just sort of like deemed it that way. You know what I mean? Time has put a stamp on a situation. So let's go ahead and shuffle the runes cards for you. We have 3 more cards to pull. I'll try to make it quick, because I'm actually really hungry. If one falls out, that'll be the card, honey. But you guys do need to like let people help you. That could even be your lover, you know, if you're in a relationship with someone that you consider your friend, or if you know your parent, your mom, your dad is trying to help you out with a situation, Capricorn. Maybe maybe you need to let them help you. A sibling, right? Somebody who's really giving themselves, you know, to you in terms of like being able to help or trying to help you. Algas. This is why I brought these books over here, because, you know, I don't really read these cards as often, but I love it when I do, because I kind of, you know, I'm getting used to reading them more. So let me read what algas means, because I know that you guys want to get a clear understanding of this card. Okay, elk, strength. Perfect. It says the card is tied to willpower, right? A fundamental quality for confronting difficult situation. The rune means elk, an animal that for the Germanic people represented the ability to defend oneself and resist adversity. The man strikes the anvil with his hammer and sharpens his weapons in preparation for battle. I did say something about sharpening your sword, right? Where did I end up? In this difficult moment, resistance is needed, and the only way to garner this quality is by continuous physical, emotional, and spiritual training. One needs to give one's all at every juncture of one's existence. Indeed, the card speaks of the value of generosity as well, right? Being generous and allowing someone else to be a part of an experience with you so you can share the abundance of the success. Do we always give 100% of ourselves, or do we sometimes hold back in inventing some excuse? Are we capable of self denial? How much are we willing to sacrifice for others? Our relationships, right? Algiz is helpful in any situation where patience and diligence is required. So it's telling you to be patient. You know what I mean? Have strength, right? Taurus is the first card that you got flipped out for you. The Seven of Pentacles, that's Taurus. That is great strength for sure. So now let me go ahead and flip over the Romance Angels. These are shorter explanations, or they're shorter messages. I'm just going to intuitively read this card. You know, some of the cards I'm stronger with the runes, but you know, we'll get there. Oh, they're jumping out. How long has this reading gone to? Okay, it hasn't been an hour yet. It says this could be the one for some of you guys. I don't know why it says that. Hold on. Let me just put these cards back together. But that one did fall out and it flipped over, so I'm gonna just read that one and continue, and then I'm gonna pull another one out. It says this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. So some of you could be having this ending happen so that you can maybe like meet up with somebody else that you've already been in, you kind of maybe like had a thing for in the past, you know what I mean? This could be that. Or maybe your partner could be like jealous, that you are kind of like involved with somebody from your past, and they know that this could be the one. You know what I mean? Possibly. Because you do have the Death card here, which is representative of Scorpio. And then that's kind of like possession. And then in the anxieties here, you have the Five of Cups, which talks about possession, a loss of something that you feel like you once possessed. Let go of control issues. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. Okay. Also, let me read the last card that I'm going to choose, which is from the Jacoli Oracle deck. I'm tired. I wonder what time it is. Oh, shit. Story time. No, that's the name of this card. It's saying like, wow, this is really funny, because it's like, listen to your story that other people are basically telling you. Basically, like, listen to what other people are telling you about yourself. Don't interrupt. Don't try to tell them what they're telling you, because it really is their perception and their interpretation of the experience that they're sharing with you. So they're relating, okay, to the experience, not as you, as them. So they're telling you how they're seeing you in the scenario that they're involved in too. They're right there with you. So let them tell you what's going on or what they're thinking. This is like letting them help you with the information that they're going to tell you. You know what I mean? It's being aware of how you're going to move forward with the situation if you allow yourself to gain the wisdom of whatever it is that they're about to tell you, because it is going to give you a sense of strength. Again, right? Willpower, that type of thing. Be focused on the movement forward, right? Have confidence to understand that you don't have all the answers. It's almost like when you ask for help, it gives you more confidence, right? In a real way, because you can do something with confidence probably if you ask the questions that you had but you didn't want to ask. Or you didn't want to hear anybody tell you any truths about yourself. You know what I mean? Or maybe someone doesn't want to listen to your story that you're telling them about themselves, and they need to sit down and listen. You know what I mean? Because it's the truth. It's what I was talking about this Ace of Swords and this change of focus, and this Knight of Swords being in the Venus placement, and then the Justice card being in the Mars placement, right? It's talking about talking and listening. Somebody needs to listen a little bit more. Okay? I feel like I'm going to leave you with that, y'all, because that's it. You know what I mean? I would like to let you know that I read at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery on Sundays from 12 to 4 at 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues in Union Square. And yeah, that's about it. Follow me on Instagram. You're welcome. I am at NYC Kendrick. I'm also Kendrick NYC. I'm also Providence Tarot, of course. And if you like food, you can follow my food account. It's The Tongue Pop. I'm in New York City, of course. And if you want to get a reading from me, you can just email me at providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com, okay? I think that's it. Thank you, Capricorn. I look forward to seeing you guys for the rest of April. Have a good Aries season. This should work out well for you because you're Capricorn. You know that Mars energy. You like it. Don't be afraid of the transformation. Don't be afraid. Don't be right food. Oh my God, I was gonna name this food, and I was listening to Khalees Food before I started playing it. You know what I mean? Because you know you guys' motto is I consume. Maybe I'll just name it Food for Thought or something like that. Okay. Yeah, I hopefully finished all of those thoughts that I had. Anyway, everybody's reading has been over an hour. That's just how it's going to be for April. Bye. Oh, anyone that's coming in, watch and like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to leave details in the description box for you guys to donate to the channel. I'm looking into getting, like, obviously, new lights, whatever it is that I need for the channel to make it better and to enhance it. So I'll leave that information in the description box, okay? Love you guys. Bye.